Evening, everyone. Debbie, Larry, Jerry, thank you for coming. Mayor Gerard here. As you know, this is our fall town hall. And traditionally, we discuss the budget for the coming year as well as capital improvements, capital projects. So I'd like to introduce to everybody.
Pardon me, Mayor, could you turn the volume down? The echo is bad.
Just take a step back.
Usually I'm not. Usually I'm not loud enough. So I'm not used to being too loud.
Well, I'm gonna address that tonight. Don't you worry.
Okay, is this better? Jerry, is this better?
Pardon?
Is this better? Now you can't hear me? Jerry, is this better?
You still get the echo. If you could turn it on, it'd be great.
Okay.
You could talk about it.
Okay, we'll try that. Okay, we'll try that.
That's better.
Okay, I'm not known for shouting, so. Right,
Okay.
right here. So let me introduce, okay. That might be the problem. Okay. Let me introduce to you the Borough Committee or the Budget Committee. We have Jason Ferguson. We have Rich Gerard, Jamie Snyder, Steve Fickard. We have Diane. We have Katie Vlahos. We also have our other committee members, Larry Burns, Michelle Weiss, Jimmy Fagan, and we have our junior council person, Giuseppe Sciano. Now, as I said, we are going to discuss the budget. I just want to thank the Budget Committee for all the hard work that they put into developing this budget. I know there were many, many meetings, many hours of discussions, a lot of research, a lot of work was done to develop this budget. And I want to thank each of you for all the hard work you put into it. I also want to point out, I was hoping for a bigger turnout, but the fact that we have in the same room residents, elected officials, and administration able to sit down and discuss and talk and exchange ideas, that is what local government is all about, in my opinion. And we're lucky to be able to do that. So I will tell you that please, there are a lot of numbers that will be thrown at you, but I know that you will be told how those numbers were derived. It was a lot of hard work put into this. So if you have questions, they are welcomed and encouraged. And now I will turn this over to the Budget Committee.
Thank you, Mayor Gerard. Is it better if I don't use the microphone? Like for the echo?
Well, no, you try.
Is it okay? There's no echo?
Yeah, you get the echo.
Okay, I can talk loud if that works better for you.
Great, because.
Yeah.
Going down to the Valley for his music service, seeing what's the name of the red hair comedian, sitting right in front, got the echo, couldn't hear what he was saying.
Oh, yeah.
It was bad.
Okay, yeah, I can talk loud, and this is for the recording for online anyway, so it's right next to me, so they'll be able to hear me just fine.
Okay.
Yes. So first we will start off by just doing a 2025 financial overview. And just to let you know where we are at year to date. So this is the 2025 budget that Borough Council passed last year. It's $11+ million in revenues and $11+ million in expenditures. Where we are at year to date is a little over 8 million in revenues have come in and a little over 6 million year to date in expenses have gone out. As we spoke about at the last council meeting, those numbers look like that as we've received a lot of grant reimbursements thus far year to date in 2025, which we will be paying off later in November. So those numbers will more balance out for revenues and expenses. Last year for the budget, Hatfield Borough enacted a tax increase. We're now at 4 mils and 0.25 for the fire company for a total of 4.25 mils. Some of the expense highlights from the 2025 budget were our debt service, police services. We're in a contract through 2026. The police debt for the building, which covered some of the unexpected pension cost, to purchase power of electricity, liability insurance, and equipment purchase. Noted on the side, Hatfield Borough owns and operates our own electric system. Power purchases rose from 1.8 million in 2024 to 2.2 million in 2025, and that was largely due to the PJM capacity auction. In 2025, Borough Council, like I said, enacted a tax millage increase of 1 mil. That looks like roughly an average of $13 per resident per month. Also, for electric, we enacted a 1.5 cent or a 1 cent electric increase, and that was for your average electric house. If your current bill is roughly around $300, it went up $18. If you're an electric apartment and your average bill is roughly around $161, you jumped $8. We also have a EDU audit that we did research and put in place. It's every 5 years. So that would give us a one-time fee of $180-some thousand or $18,000 a year. We enacted a rental inspection program that brought in revenue of $60,000. And we also bumped our EIT to $500,000 and our LST to $50,000. The tax increase brings the borough $139,000, and the electric rate increase brought the borough $213,000. So that's just a slight recap of where we are year to date for 2025.
Sorry, jumped too early. All right, good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming out. Like Mayor Gerard said, I'm Steve Fickard. I'm the Public Works Director, Electric Superintendent. I'm going to be going over the 2025 and 2026 projects. We did get a lot accomplished in 2025, and we have a good amount in store in 2026. So in 2025, we successfully completed the entire Broad Street, North Main Street utility replacement project. This was not a small task. I'm sure a lot of people have seen a lot of disruptions on the roads. I think the final product actually came out very well. Everybody here in staff, in the building, council, I think agrees. And from the feedback we've heard from the resident, the overall project, people are very pleased with. This included the entire replacement. Well, first, let me back up. This was a joint project with Hatfield Borough and North Penn Water Authority for replacing some water mains, some water, water services on West Broad Street. The teamwork that was in place with the Water Authority, North Penn Water Authority, and Hatfield Borough, I think was immaculate and a really good testament to great neighboring places that can really work well together. The project included about 4,100 linear feet of storm pipe that was replaced on all three roads. A little over 1,300 linear feet of sanitary sewer Main Street just on North Main Street alone. About 2,000 linear feet of water main. So it was a big undertaking, well needed, and we're happy it's completed. So we also did another joint project for our 2025 roadway resurfacing project. It included the paving of North Main Street from Broad Street to the municipal line, right around the old biblical seminology, theological, whatever building. And also the portion of West Broad Street between Route 463 and Talmenson Avenue. Both roads were in well need of resurfacing. So once again, another great project that worked really well with teamwork between intermunicipal agreements. We did multiple storm and sanitary projects. The main sanitary project was obviously the replacement on North Main Street with the sanitary sewer with the utility replacement project. A lot of stuff the Public Works Department did in-house. It's obviously an ongoing effort to replace failing storm sewer inlets and updating the sanitary sewer manhole frames prior to roads getting repaved. So once again, this is an ongoing effort that we do every single year. And on topic of ongoing projects is the infamous utility pole replacement project. We've done 8 poles so far to date this year. We have one more that we're looking to do yet this year, and not sure the exact number for next year, but this is going to be ongoing next year as well. Know we've talked about this with previous town hall meetings. There's a lot of poles out there that are failing. We're trying to get a jump on them and replace them before they look like the picture to the right. So next year, we're getting back on our ADA curb ramp replacement. This is a couple pictures of what we call a non-compliant on the left. It does not meet the current ADA specs. And the one on the right is a compliant ADA curb ramp. So we're trying to bring them up to current ADA standards. So that's something we're looking to do this year in the neighborhoods of like Union Street, Cherry Street, Diamond Street, Frets. We're looking about 14 curb ramps in that general area, give or take a few, depending on, where the bids come in at. So Heritage Park Pond. This is obviously an ongoing issue. We've talked about this in the spring town hall. This was a big ticket item. This has not been put on the back burner. We're still actively investigating this and looking into where the issues are, what repairs need to be made, where we want to go moving forward. So we have teamed up with the Perkiomen Watershed, and they are going to really help us as far as writing grants, brainstorming ideas, troubleshooting, different things like that. They're going to be a great partner that we're going to utilize going forward with this, and not just for the pond, but other things in general for the borough itself. Tomorrow, actually, I'm going to be meeting with a company that's going to be televising the storm sewer drain that runs from the Larkspur cul-de-sac into the retention basin of Heritage Park to try to see what's going on, if there's any kind of leakage, if there's anything, blatant going on there that we really could possibly say, hey, maybe this is a delineating factor of an ongoing issue with the pond itself. So that'll be happening tomorrow morning. And here are some of the results of the Heritage Park survey. We've been asking for the public for their response. What do you want to see? What are your ideas? It's been pretty overwhelming with option 3, which is turning the pond into some sort of wetland nature type area. Still kind of incorporating pond type themes, but more of a walking trail with a self-sustaining nature land. Wetland area with promoting plants and trees and stuff that promote that wetland area. We are actively looking to form a committee to help us with the revitalization of the pond. Space is limited, so if you are interested, send your intent of interest, I will say, to admin@hatfieldborough.com.
Is that place behind Vinny's Pizza?
Yes. The old Allenbach's farm. And I'll turn it back over to Manager Snyder for the 2026 draft budget presentation.
Great, thank you, Steve. So before we get into the 2026 draft budget, any comments, questions about 2025, where we're at today, things we should be thinking about, or 2025 projects or 2026 projects?
Got a few questions.
Yeah, sure, anytime.
My name's Jerry DeMont. Maybe you know me, maybe you don't. I was summoned here and requested by a council member. I'm not going to mention any names to avoid retribution. Steve, I want to thank you and your crew for replacing that pole in front of my house. It was great. Okay. Who's the person that takes care of posting the YouTube video?
Katie does.
Oh, Katie, have you ever gone in there to YouTube to see what the amount of views are? And how are they doing?
Some better than others.
Some better than others. And do you ever read the comments?
I have, but we haven't had any recent.
Well, before I got here, I've seen last week's meeting here, and I was listening to it, and the volume from the lady, I guess she was Australian or English.
Oh, the lady from Partnership, yes, Jackie.
Yeah, and you could hardly understand what she was saying. Good thing I had the closed caption so I could read it. Do any of you people here, show of hands, see the videos that you post? Okay. And have you heard the audio quality is pretty bad?
I would agree with that. I know we tried to implement this little gem here that Katie got to try to enhance that. It's a speaker that was bringing the noise more to those having a conversation, but it's just an additional speaker. So because these were giving a lot of echo or they weren't being, I want to say like used all the time. So we bought this to enhance the conversation that was happening up here.
Is this piped into the amplifier system?
That is
Along
in,
with all these?
yes, correct.
And they're not adjustable?
No, it's just a one on and off. They're adjustable only by the main volume over there, but it
Okay.
gets echoey if you, Put it too
You
high.
need a mixer.
yes,
You need
something
a-
like that.
You need a mixer. As I was saying, when I was listening, the mayor speaking, the echo was coming back and her voice was hitting them with the echo, and it was really a terrible thing. Okay? Another thing, when you people get your bills in the either in the mail or e-bill, does it tell you how much you owe on the bill?
Yeah.
Mine doesn't. It gives me a balance. And I would like to know, why can't I get, there's two sheets there. Okay? Why can't I get a bill? If I want to know how much I spent, I have to go to last month bill and subtract it from this month bill. And nowhere on there does it show the price. Okay?
This?
Yeah.
That's the total bill?
It shows the total bill. I think what Jerry's saying, it shows the total bill. It doesn't show what was last month's and what is the current. Is
Oh,
that correct?
it shows what was last month and what's my balance, but it doesn't show the bills being charged. Doesn't show the amount being charged to me.
Oh, you
Are
mean,
you talking about from the prior billing?
But yeah, it does.
yeah, it has like your total amount due.
Yeah,
No, it does not. The top part is the balance. See that negative there?
Yes.
And look at the sheet behind it. See that?
Yes.
So I have to subtract bill one from bill two to get what the, not the balance, but what the bill was charged.
So Jared, if I can interrupt for a second.
Sure.
So are you highlighting this because you're concerned that other people see the same problem, or are you trying to
It
get
may
this
be.
straightened out?
I don't know.
Okay,
Or maybe I'm the only one who complains about it.
well, no, but why don't we do this? Why don't we invite anyone online who's listening or watching, if they have a similar problem, to reach out to the borough office to get it corrected? But I'd rather spend the time this evening
Okay.
kind of going through where we're at with the budget and make sure we're getting all those questions addressed.
Oh, okay.
So, not saying what your experience isn't important,
Right.
but
Right.
it's probably better to manage it one-on-one.
Okay.
But I think it's a good idea that you've highlighted just in case other people have the same
Right.
issue.
A question,
let me.
what's
before you-
happening with the trash hauler situation?
let's-
I'm sorry.
Before you go further, okay, I'm the head of the utilities committee.
Okay.
Okay, and I know, it looks to me like there's some sort of a problem with this billing, because this billing is set up the same way as mine is, but I don't understand why this is showing you negative amounts.
Because I sent $1,000 in at a time.
Okay, so you've got a balance.
I got a balance.
Okay, so,
I got a balance there because I don't feel like being late now.
right.
Why
But
worry about it?
the thing is, the way that's set up, it's not programmed to do that, because 99% of the people don't do that. They pay, one at a time. It will show a deficiency, like if your bill was, say, $100 and you only paid 50,
I understand that. yeah.
okay? But
Mhm.
that's why this is happening, because you're paying ahead,
Yeah.
and that's why it's showing a negative amount.
Oh, I understand that.
But it doesn't show you the difference.
Does it show me
Right.
the amount of the
But
bill?
that, that's because of how this is set up. You're an anomaly, because nobody else pays ahead of time like that.
I'm sure somebody does, no?
Well,
Some
maybe they
people do.
do, but
There you go.
what I'm saying is,
It's very far.
yeah,
very
what I'm saying is, it's gonna require a programming change to pick that up. That's why this is doing that,
Okay.
okay? We'll have to look into that, I think, to see
Well,
what we can do
I
to,
talked to, what was it, Dave?
Dave, yeah,
I talked to him before and he said, well, we'll get around to it and never got around to it.
right. All right, well, I'll have a discussion with it, but that's because of the way
Yeah.
the system is set up with the programming, because most people don't do what you do.
Well,
And it throws it off.
Well, a lot of people don't want to, maybe they don't care if they miss a payment from, I don't like paying the
Yeah,
interest.
But that's the way it is set up.
Okay.
so, Yeah, okay.
Okay,
Can I keep this or?
yo, sure.
Okay, I'll talk to Steve.
Okay, anyhow,
Yeah.
what's happening with the trash? Anything, the trash haulers?
So we looked at, possibly going to a single trash hauler. The people in the community overwhelmingly did not want that.
Okay,
So we have decided, at least for now, to stick with, letting residents choose who the trash hauler.
okay, I understand.
It's something we talked about bringing up again and reevaluating in the
Yeah.
future, but right now there's no plans to change it.
What's happening with the railroad station that you guys leased or going to lease or whatever?
That's still in process.
still in
We have a
progress.
Potential
Okay.
tenant for it. Nothing has been
Okay.
finalized on
Okay.
it. But it is, hopefully within the next few
Okay.
weeks, we'll have a definitive answer
Okay.
one way or the other, what's going on with it.
And I got a few suggestions. Why couldn't we have a parents and kids kite day or from the fly kites at a park? You know, that'd be cool. Get people out there.
Sure, we can look into
Parents,
that.
kids.
Be something that I can talk to you about that, Jen.
And how about a homemade pie contest? Ooh, and how about a chili contest held at the firehouse? And a lot of people will bring their chili in. And how about a mother-in-law, son-in-law, William Tell shoot the apple with the head contest?
But that's gonna happen.
Oh, come on now, they're all good ideas. Okay. But I like the chili contest and the pie contest.
Yeah, I mean, it's something we could consider for various
Right.
activities.
And if you get enough of people for the William Tell pie, apple contest, we can have apple pie too.
Right.
No?
The one thing you have to consider though is whenever we have a public event in the borough, okay, we also have to take into account the expected number of people. And sometimes, I mean, there's a lot of work and preparation that goes into doing like the car show, Founder's Day, that sort of thing. And if we don't have the people that are going to show up for it, then we're spending a lot of money for.
Well, I understand. That's why you work about 2 or 3 months ahead of time
Right.
and just
But
see
still,
who's
we
just
don't have any control over that because people may not show up. Maybe they're not interested.
Well,
We can, we definitely look into it too. We can.
okay. And how about karaoke contest? There's a lot of good voices out there that want to be heard, but there's no way for it to be heard. And if you ever listen to YouTube, there's some terrific people in there, and I'm sure just as many in North Penn in the choir area. I used to hold a karaoke contest, and my next contest was going to be charge you $5 to register, and after you're done singing, you get your $5 back. That way they show up.
Well, Jerry, I have office hours this Friday from 10 to 12. Why don't you stop by and we can talk about these different ideas of yours, okay?
You're interested?
Well,
Okay,
I'll sit and talk with you about it.
okay.
Okay, how's that?
5 to 12, you say?
Fair enough. 10 to 12.
10 to 12, okay.
Okay, so you can, I'll be looking for you.
I'll be
Okay.
here this Friday.
Okay,
Okay, I am done.
thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks for your input.
We're going to discuss the 2026 draft budget. If you have any questions, just feel free to ask during the presentation. I think it's just going to be better if we have a roundtable conversation and you don't have to wait till the end to go back for questions. If people want to post online in the chat, that's fine. We'll check that frequently. And then we're just here to have a conversation about it. This is the draft budget as of November 5th of this year. It's not the adopted budget. Budget Finance and Labor and Borough Council still have plenty of meetings to come up where we're going to discuss the budget. We're going to go over it in detail. We're hoping to tweak some expense items and tweak some revenue items to come to a balanced budget for adoption in December. So this budget total, looking at the 2026 draft budget, it has revenues of a little over 8 million and expenditures at a little over 8 million. You might ask why that dropped so much in 2025. We looked at an $11 million budget. In 2026, we're looking more at an $8 million budget. $8 million is very familiar to Hatfield Borough. It's normally what the budget looks like. The past several years, we've had the $3 million utility replacement project included in our budget. So those numbers were just skewed a little bit, but we normally work with between an $8 and $9 million budget. So when we're moving through this budget, the first thing we look at is our expenses and how they compared to the current year of 2025. So the first thing we always take into consideration is our cost to purchase electricity. That is rising over $77,000 in 2026. We still have debt payments, and that's looking at, was 524,000. I believe it's going to drop to 500 in this budget. Police services, we're in a long-term agreement with them, which expires at the end of 2026. Our contract goes up $50,000 yearly, so we're looking at $1,095,000 in 2026. Debt for the police building, including pension, part of our contract is making up some pension increases, so that's included in the $50,000, along with Borough Council making a good fourth effort, helping Hatfield Township with the police debt on the new building. That's something that Borough Council is going to look forward to including in the service agreement in 2027 and beyond. So we don't think it'll look like a separate line item. We think it's going to be part of our service agreement, but we had a 2-year gap that we're just trying to get there. So look for that in 2027. We are doing a ADA project this year in the amount of 73,000. A Union storm sewer project, roughly 30,000. We're looking to replace $100,000 of poles next year, increase from 60,000 in 2025, and that's largely due to a grant that we've applied for in the amount of $136,000. So we left in the budget $100,000 for the goal for the pole replacement, and 36 will come from our electric reserve account. Looking at code enforcement and bumping that up to roughly around $100,000 in 2026. Right now, we have a contracted service part-time, which we pay roughly $74,000. And looking at healthcare costs, possibly a new employee in the code department, and an overall 7% increase in healthcare. So that's a difference of $303,000 in expense differences from 2025 into 2026. So when we move forward to break those down, we kind of just wanted to show you the trends of how these increases are coming about from 2021 through 2026. So in 2025, our cost to purchase power was an increase of $400,000. And in 2026, our cost to purchase power is $77,000. A lot of that has to do with the behind the meter generator that we had installed. So as I mentioned earlier, 1.8 million to 2.2 million in 2025, but we're only going up $77,000 in 2026, even though the capacity auction hit the cap in July of 2025. I know that's a lot to understand and purchase electricity, but we have to have enough space to keep the lights on. And because we put some generation in down at the Public Works facility, you can see at the bottom right-hand corner, when PP&L has really hot days and really cold days, we have to be able to supply power to everybody. It's the same with PJM. And as you can see in PP&L, in 2024, we had peaked at 5.2 and we dropped to 4.3 in 2025 because of the behind the meter generator. And same with the PJM. In 2024, we were at 4.99. In 2025, we dropped to 4.92. So the behind the meter generator really works. And what that means is cost savings to Hatfield Borough, which eventually is cost savings to the customers, so we won't have to raise electric rates. So this behind the meter generator has become a very good asset to the borough, and we'll continue to utilize that. And looking forward into 2026, you'll start to see some more items about peak shaving, and we're kind of going to break this down in the spring informer, so you at home can help as well, to help us shave some of those costs, because like I said, it's cost savings to the borough, it's cost savings to the residents. When we move into police services, we're in a contract, so just wanted to show you how this trends from 2021 through 2026 with the increase of $50,000 yearly for the contract. Capital construction, in 2025, we only replaced $60,000 worth of poles, but due to the grant, the capital construction cost is significantly projected to increase in 2026, jumping from 60 to 100. So that's where you can see that incline from year 5 to year 6. So we want to talk a little bit about the Hatfield Borough Comprehensive Plan. Hopefully you came to the town halls that we had and we filled out the community surveys. So one of the feedback we received from the comprehensive plan was that code and property maintenance in Hatfield Borough is the #1 service provided by the borough that the residents are dissatisfied with. So when Borough Council heard that and the planning steering committee for the planning commission heard that, it was something that we were like, whoa, we really need to step back and take a look at that. And can we do better, and can we provide better for our residents? Of course, when we want to increase services or increase quality of services, that ultimately comes at a price. And what that price is looking for is roughly between $90,000 and $100,000 in 2026 versus $74,000 in 2025. So currently now Hatfield Borough has a part-time code officer, property maintenance officer, fire marshal. It's kind of an all-in-one. And he is here on Tuesdays and Thursdays for roughly 5, maybe 6 hours on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Hatfield Borough is working with 2 options in to consider in 2026. Do we want to bring in and hire a full-time person that would work Monday through Friday, the same office hours as the borough staff, at X amount of dollars? Or do we want to continue to look at contracted services, but bring those contracted services up, maybe 3 days a week or 4 days a week? But with that also comes a cost on the next slide when we talk about health insurance, because if we have a full-time off person that's coming in, our cost for health insurance is going to rise from $260,000 to $302,000 in 2026. And that's a significant increase that Borough Council needs to consider with a full-time employee. So we understand that it's an issue in the borough. We understand that we need to do something. We have not decided what that something is yet. We're working through all the options. We're getting proposals from code, proposals from other municipalities to see if what our salaries could be. Can we do a mix of both? Maybe a full-time person, but still contract a little bit. So those are just all options we're working through and considering based on the feedback that we've received from that comprehensive plan survey that the county put out. Another expense that we wanted to highlight was our debt service. So you've probably seen these numbers before. We have a couple series notes. The 2020 series note is for this Hatfield Borough building. We have a 2021 series notes A and B. That was for the East Lincoln Avenue Bridge and some other capital projects that we completed, along with a grant that we're currently working through with PennDOT for crosswalks on West Broad and South Main Street. And then we have the new 2024 series notes A and B, and that was for the $2.9 million utility replacement project that Steve highlighted earlier. So when we talk about all these expenses for debt service, we're looking at roughly $500,000 needed for debt service payments in 2026. That dropped from $524,000 because Borough Council has authorized to pay off $2.5 million in debt payments towards our 2024 Series A and B notes in 2025. A lot of those were grant reimbursements working through the utility replacement project. So that 2.5 million in debt payments brings our overall debt for moving forward to roughly around 500,000. It could fluctuate a little bit, but we're going to try to be continuous with 500,000. And then it also saves off roughly $300,000 in interest payments over the life of the loan because we paid off the debt a little bit earlier than expected.
Jamie,
Yeah.
any thought about floating a bond for the borough?
Yeah, so we're actually, once we pay off this $2.5 million debt, we're gonna look at the possibility of refinancing and restructuring everything. That was a possibility that we talked about in budget, finance, and labor. We'll
Over to the residents too?
yeah, we'll have an open discussion about it and we'll have that. We do have some money locked up in investments currently in Key Bank and some notes there. But yes, once this is paid off and we get our actual numbers, because the 500 is their best guesstimate, can we look at refinancing? I will tell you that the 2020 series note for this building is less than 1% interest that we're paying now. And the 2021 is 1.8% interest.
Would it be a tax-free bond?
So
Maybe.
yes, so I think we'll all talk about the possibility of refinancing. I think we probably don't want to touch, and I don't want to speak for Borough Council, the 2020 or the 2021 because they're so low. When are you going to get less than 1% or 1%? But we can probably do better with the 3.6 because we paid off so much debt, and the B note is totally going to go away at the variable rate. We will pay all that off. So yeah, there'll be discussions at council meetings. They'll be on the agenda. We'll kind of float all ideas that we come across. So if you have something you've heard about, share it with us. We'll talk about it. Yeah. Whatever we can do to get the best rate for the borough. That's our ultimate goal. So we heard about our expenses and, the questions right now is how are we proposing to make up the gap in the revenues and expenses? So the first thing that the budget committee talked about was, can we do some projects in 2025 that we've slated for 2026 and have some to save some money? So what we've decided was we can complete the ordering of the materials for the Union Storm project. We can order the LED Cobra headlights. We can televise the pond. And we can install the cameras at the public workshop, which would save us roughly $29,250. So instead of putting those in our budget in 2026, we have the funds in 2025. So we're going to complete those projects this year and save roughly $30,000 in 2026.
Were those cameras at the public work, that for security?
Yes, it is. Yeah. They did have a makeshift system down there before, and it's failed roughly 3 times. And we have had some unfortunate break-ins.
It's the new cop shop, right?
Yeah, and it'll be, so their system will be able to communicate with our system here. And it'll be one system that the police will also have access to. So one of the proposals that the budget committee is currently talking about and looking at to make up some of the expense differences is a possible real estate tax millage increase. So when we talk about a tax millage increase for 2026, we've talked about possibly doing a 0.25 mil tax increase. That average is $35.14 a year to the average resident, or $2.92 per month. And currently Hatfield Borough is ranked 30th out of the 62 municipalities in Montgomery County for real estate taxes. And a 0.25 mil tax increase would generate a little over $35,000 for Hatfield Borough. So that's just one option Borough Council is considering. A second option Borough Council is also considering is looking at the flat customer fee for your electric utility. So currently on your electric bill, there's a customer service charge of $15. And the Budget Finance and Labor Committee is proposing to increase that by $3 a month to make that $18, which would bring Hatfield Borough roughly $53,208 in additional revenue in 2026 at the cost of $36 annually per resident. We've also talked about doing something very similar for the flat fee for sewer. So currently on your sewer bill, you have a flat fee of $50 per quarter. The Budget Finance and Labor Committee is proposing to increase that by $5. And that will bring an additional $36,200 to Hatfield Borough at the cost of $20 annually for residential customers. If you have more than one EDU, which is one equivalent dwelling unit, most single family homes only have one, businesses most likely have more than one. It's just per EDU. So if you have two, it would be $40 annually and so on. Some other revenues that the committee has talked about along with Borough Council is looking at EIT and LST and how are those numbers trending. So as you can see, we've kind of been hitting the marks. We're moving up. And 2025 year to date, we're at 459,000 for EIT, and LST we're at 39,393. We had budgeted 525,000 in 2025 for EIT and 55,000 for LST. When we look forward to 2026, because we actually are projecting to meet those numbers and exceed those numbers. And Diane, I don't know if you know where we are at for November. This does not include November.
As of today, the LST was at 47,000 and the EIT is at 477,000.
Okay, yeah. So now we're looking at 477 and we're halfway through November. November in the past several years has roughly brought in around $90,000 in November alone.
November has been a bigger month, and then December will trend lower.
So we're expecting to hit that roughly 550 in 2025, which would have been $25,000 more than we estimated. So we're projecting to move that number up in the 2026 budget for EIT. And Budget Finance and Labor, we talk every meeting, we're going to continue to look at those numbers. It might trend higher. We might be able to get 560. We don't know. We have to see when the numbers come in at closer to the end of the year. And then finally, we looked at other revenue sources that we have in the borough. We have the rental inspection program and the fire safety inspection program. They bring in revenue for us, not as much for the rental inspection as it did in 2025. Because those, you only pay once every 3 years for rental inspection. Fire safety is yearly. So the number drops a little bit, but we're still getting revenue from it. It's still a program that we get money from. Looking at the second half of our sewer EDU money from the audit will bring roughly $77,000. And Hatfield Borough has been discussing and talking about taking some money from our own investments, not putting that burden on the residents by maybe a electric rate increase or putting the taxes up higher than 0.25 mil, actually taking money from our own reserves and own investments to balance the budget. Mr. DeMoss.
Fire safety inspection, is that for the business owners?
Yes, so yeah, fire safety is commercial, industrial, and institutional, and rental inspection is all multifamily. And then the last slide before the budget committee has anything else to discuss is we just want to let you know that this is not our budget. This is not the budget we're going to adopt tomorrow. We're not looking at that. We're kind of here to have an open conversation. What do you feel about the increases? How do you feel about the expenses versus the revenues? What does that look like to your budget at home? And to let you know that we have council meetings in November and December, and we're looking to adopt this on the 17th, but we just want to be transparent and open, and we want to have a conversation with everybody. And how are you feeling? How do you think these proposed revenue increases will impact you personally? And do you have ideas? Do you have concerns? So we're here to have a conversation and go through things. Anything else from the committee?
Well, I just again wanna, I think I mentioned it last week during the council meeting, but just thank everyone for all the work that was done. As we mentioned, we went through 9 different versions of the budget, so this did, as usual, have a lot of back and forth. And again, I think we came to some conclusions about balancing how much we're asking residents to increase their monthly and yearly payments versus how much you want to pull out of our savings. We felt that it was appropriate to do a little bit of both. And I think if I remember the numbers correctly, we're only talking $11 a month for the residents. So again, trying to balance that out. And a lot of the reason we can do that is based on the history and the good management that this council and others have done in managing the budget over the years, even long before this council. So there's a long trend of good management from a budget standpoint. So again, looking to get people's input, see what people think, and have an open conversation about it. So
I live right next to the firehouse. And I'm well aware of how many alarms go off, you know? And they come back and you don't see anything about the paper too much. So I'm wondering, are these all false alarms? Because they don't publish a log of poll logs on the firehouse.
well, if you come to the council meetings, they do go through the call log as part of the fire department's report. So they're not only looking at things in the borough, but they support the other townships around as well too.
But it's not cheap to run those engines.
It's not, and when you look at the numbers, they actually are having a record year on the number of calls that they've had because of supporting the other local
I know, like
municipalities.
years.
Yeah.
One of the things that's going on is, and this down the road for us may also turn out to be a problem. A lot of the volunteer fire companies, because of the fact that they're not getting the volunteers like they had years previously, from my understanding from the chief is that there have been changes made to the call requirements where, for example, if there's a call from Lansdale, and depending upon the type of call, if it's residential, commercial, whatever, they need to have a certain number of people on site. So now they're drawing from surrounding areas and they're required because it's a mutual
Usually.
compact where we have to we have to go out and answer those calls. In case something happens here in our borough, they would be doing the same thing with us.
So I'm thinking, they're all coming from the village. You know?
The problem they run into is that once they get on site and they find out, well, the situation is not as bad as what we thought it might be. So then they come back to their firehouse and
That's
they handle there.
tax drain though.
Pardon?
All those calls, not, you know.
Right, but that's the problem. The root of the problem is because of the lack of volunteers, and there's talking a number of, we haven't discussed it yet here, but I know in some other municipalities, there's talk about getting full-time firemen.
Right.
You know,
Of course.
which is gonna
Yeah.
cost even more.
Does the fire department ever issue a bill to these false alarms?
That I don't know. You'd have to talk to the people down there. I don't know. I believe, and I don't hold me to this, that if there's a number of false alarms over a certain span of time, then they do something. They do some sort of I won't call it a bill, but maybe a penalty, for calling out.
My neighbor was in the fire department and he says, down there in the Hatfield Village, there's a lot of false alarms, people cooking and making smoke and all kinds of stuff. And it's apparently, it's been a problem in the past. I don't know how it is now though.
Yeah, I don't either, but that's the situation, what's going on, and that's why it's so vital to have a volunteer fire company. That's why we try to help them out as much as we
I
possibly
wish
can.
Whitmore here so they can make those meals,
Yeah,
they were great. They're just meals.
support them any way you can.
Pardon?
Support them any way you can.
Well,
Any other questions, comments?
One.
Sure.
Is there grant funding for the ADA curb ramps? I know in the past there's been grant funding. Is that dried up or is that available?
So, we're taking the money out of liquid fuels. So that's, I don't want to say it's grant funding, but it is money coming from the state. So we are taking that out of, liquid fuels for next year. That's how we're going to pay for it. So it's not going to come out of the general. Not specific, like looking at a grant, like a CDBG grant or a block grant or something like that. Next year it's coming out of liquid fuels.
One other thing I'd like to bring up too, in relation to the electricity, and Steve, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this. Due to the fact that we ran our behind the meter generator at the peak time in July, we were anticipating that our increases, because of the situation with the PGM rate increases, we were expecting our rates to go up, what we're being charged, over $200,000. As it turned out, because we ran that and the efficiency we have built into the system now, we ran that in July, I believe it was, and I think it was what was it, 77,000? Forgot what the figure was.
Yeah.
Instead of 200 and some thousand, our actual charges came out to be only 77,000. That's quite a drop, and that's how we've been able to maintain and even keep good control on our electric rates in the borough.
Is that a diesel or is that a gas, a propane operated generator?
It's diesel. isn't it?
Diesel.
Yeah.
Diesel.
So that's another thing, that over the years has been done to alleviate these large increases. And I'm straight up, down the road, it's going to get worse because they keep putting all these different data centers in, which are just taking a lot of
Right.
electricity to draw, and the infrastructure isn't there to support it. And that's what you're going to see coming down the road.
Is there any option of running a natural gas red generator? Is it a diesel?
I don't know.
No.
Can't really convert it.
It depends. You'd have to put in a gas line for one thing, which I don't even know if they have.
Nothing
that.
close to it, huh?
No.
I mean, the diesel is actually, you don't want to run the generator all the time because
Yeah.
diesel is actually more expensive, but that's why we slated to run for peak shaving. And then also in emergencies, when we have power outage for a significant period of time, we can run into and provide electricity to some of the circuits. So
That's what I'm thinking, but if you had the natural gas, that never stops from about Philadelphia or whatever. Where in the diesel, you can have dirty fuel and filter clogs and stuff like that, with propane or natural gases. We should need a larger load for that though.
well, we're always evaluating different options
Yeah.
and we've been presented some different options about how we can get involved with more electricity generation that's happening in the area and some things going on, future type ideas. So we're always cognizant of that. Jamie and Steve are part of the associations. They go to meetings every year. There's a lot of conversation that happens behind the scenes about future options. So. And to comment one more on, we talked about grants and funding and that, I want to give Steve public kudos for finding the pole replacement grant, which we budgeted for this year. We haven't got it yet, but in reality, I think the numbers where we'd save like $415,000 or $450,000 over the next 5 to 7 years if we get the grant. So that's a huge savings for us. So, so again, that's, want to give kudos to the team for always thinking proactively of how we can manage our money effectively.
And I want to thank them again for having my pole replaced right from my house. It was ready to fall, bend in two. It was terrible. Mhm.
So before we close, does Borough Council or anyone have any comments or questions, concerns? Mayor, are you good? Okay, great. Well, we appreciate everyone coming out or tuning in online, watching the video. Hopefully there wasn't a lot of feedback tonight. And if you have any questions, always email anyone on Borough Council, come to a council meeting, come to the mayor's office hours. Like I said, multiple times, just want to have a conversation about it. We want to do what's best for all 3,300 residents of this municipality. So thanks again for coming out this evening.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.